what a die, oh, Daniel, oh, Daniel, oh, what a die, what a what a Daniel, what a die, and go Daniel, oh, what a die. This is the Black Pot, aka Kuku Shodomo, where we speak truth to power. And here we don't criticize, but if we must criticize, we'll do that on one condition: to build and not to destroy. That is why we always say we are in the service of God and country. This is the voice of the people. Now let me begin on this note, and I'm reading this from Peace FM Online. It says Kennedy Japan rejects group call to go independent. And I read, now the former New Patriotic Party flag bearer hopeful Kennedy Japan has rejected the calls by a group of his supporters to run as an independent candidate in the 2024 elections. Now, this comes after Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia defeated Mr. Ejapong in the NPP's presidential primary elections, which saw close to 200,000 delegates vote to choose between 4 candidates. Now, the Vice President polled 61.47% of the total votes, beating Kennedy Ohini Ejapong, Francis Adenimo, and Dr. Owusu Efriye Akoto to become the NPP's presidential candidate for the 2024 polls. Now, the group's chairperson, Kwabena Yankee, during a news conference held on Tuesday, said, we, the supporters of Kennedy Ejapong, representing 37% of the NPP delegates, wish to inform the general public that Kennedy Ejapong needs to be the next president of Ghana. And we are advocating for Kennedy Ejapong, and we urge him to stand up as an independent candidate for a massive win in 2024. And of course, having heard all these things, Kennedy Ejapong, speaking at the USA edition of Showdown Thanksgiving Party in Minnesota on December 2, 2023, assured his supporters that he is not going to leave the NPP. Well, this is what Kennedy Ejapong is saying. He's in fact, supporters are telling him to move out. His supporters think that they don't have a good candidate. They believe that this is a candidate who has been skewed and forced on the whims and caprices and even the mandate of the people. My brother, my sister, they don't believe that Bawumia can do anything. In the ordinary Ghanaian man's language, he can't do FOCO come the 2024 elections. But Kennedy Ejapong humbly tells them that no, I am not going to leave the NPP, and I am not going to go independent. Now, I want to say commendations, big commendations, you know. Congratulations to Kennedy Ejapong. He says that despite the fact that my party is very bad, wretched, and smelly, I would stay to clean up all the debt. I will stay to make sure that I whip everybody into line. Yes, our party is not in the best standing. Yes, we don't have the best candidate. Yes, we are going to lose the 2024 elections. Yes, this party will take time to rebuild. But there is still hope. I will stay behind to lead the blind in the party. So at the end of the day, we shall have a formidable party again. I am not a supporter of this dirty party, but I like the stance that Kennedy Ejapong has taken. My brother, my sister, this is a man who is utterly unpredictable. Next moment, you will hear him throwing salvos at his own party. If the salvos are not enough, he will throw missiles. Anti-ballistic missiles will flow. Missiles of mass destruction will flow against his own party. He has not spared the president in the past. And he keeps talking every now and then when the opportunity brings itself. My brother, my sister, Kennedy Ejapong, congratulations. Much as you know that your party cannot do FOCO in the coming election, You still want to stay in the periphery and deal with the party and make sure that things get better. I think that is not a bad idea. But in the interim, we all must look at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is Ghana. What can we do to support Ghana? What can we do to make Ghana better? What is the change we're looking for? Can we start reminiscing on this change? And can we start manifesting this change in our individual selves? Canada, Japan, without much ado, I wish Ghanaians could also take this stance. Yes, we have a very big country full of intellectuals, yet it looks like we produce thieves every now and then. People who are not patriotic to the nation. But despite all these negatives, we shall still stay behind and whip everybody into line, whether sights or blind. My brother, my sister, everybody would have to come and work out so that Ghana will become a better place. That is patriotism. This is what we've been believing in. This is what we've told you to believe in. And if we all can stand by patriotism, Ghana will be a better place. Next thing I would like to look at is coming from treenews.com. Yes, and it says migrant workers sent 647 billion American dollars back to their families in 2022. And this is IMF talking. And the figure is 647 billion American dollars. Migrant workers. It means people from outside America and some other such places who have come to work in foreign lands and have repatriated money to their families. In other words, remitted their families. In 2022 alone, 647 billion American dollars went back to families. Now let's get the details. Now the International Monetary Fund has revealed that migrant workers sent 647 billion American dollars back to their families in 2022. However, the fund said that migrants face high fees when sending money to their families. A migrant worker is a person who migrates within a home country or outside it to pursue work. Migrant workers usually do not have an intention to stay permanently in the country or a region in which they work. Our Back to Basics video highlights how improved remittance regulations and reduced costs could expand access to finance. The Bretton Woods Institution said on Monday, December 18, a day set aside to mark the World Migrant Day celebration. Now, on 18 December 1990, the General Assembly adopted as a resolution on the International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of All Migrant Workers and Members of their Families. Remember, we celebrated this one yesterday, right? Now, each year on December 18, the United Nations, through the UN-related agency, International Organization for Migration, uses International Migrants Day to highlight the contributions made by the roughly 272 million migrants, including more than 41 million internally displaced persons, and the challenges they face. My brother, my sister, it's interesting, isn't it? Now, if you look at statistics like this and you just jump and embrace the face value, you will be an armchair statistician. Watch me. Now, they say 647 billion American dollars has been repatriated to families of migrants. Who are the migrants? Now the IMF goes on to say, oh, people who work outside their homes. In other words, their home countries. Whatever money they make, they repatriate to their families. Now check the statistics and break it down. Now when we talk about migrants, everybody's mind goes to Africa and Africans. We are the people who are never ever satisfied with our continent. So we are always running around. My brother, my sister, looking for greener pastures, like Fulanis looking for greener pastures for their cows. We have become the cows for the Fulani, all over the world, we are always looking for green pastures. Our nation does not have enough green pastures. Our continent does not have enough green pastures. We always are looking for pastures in the white man's land. But it will shock you to know that out of this money, 647 billion, a huge chunk of it is actually from white people and people who live in America, England, and Canada, Japan, China. They are also migrants. When they come into our country and we decide to call them expatriates, yet when we leave our country and go to their countries, they call us migrants. When they enter our country, they are expatriates. When we do the same thing in their country, they call us migrants. It's the same thing. When we fight for our rights, they call us terrorists. But when they do the same, they call themselves what? My brother, my sister, we all have to sit back and look at these things. This huge figure that you see here, a lot of the money is repatriated by the so-called expatriates, the Americans who work here in our mines and give us a paltry 2% and take the rest of it 100% away, my brother, my sister. All that they make, they repatriate everything to their country. In our country, there is no such policy as to how much of the wealth you make in our country should be spent in our country. We give them tax holidays and we allow them to repatriate 100% of whatever they make here. When you go to America, they make sure that at least 40 to 50% of whatever you make in America is spent back in America to keep it in the conduit pipe. But in our country, no. We are beggars. So we beg them to come here. And some of the carrots that we dangle in front of them, number one, tax holidays, and number two, 100% repatriation of all that you make in this country. I know this is a little technical, but my brother, my sister, this is what it is. Don't look at this and think that it's Africans who are sending home 647 billion American dollars to their families. No. More than 80% of this is coming from Chinese, coming from Japanese, coming from the English, coming from the American, my brother, my sister, working in Africa, in our mines and also in our oil fields. They make all the money and they repatriate everything, leaving Africa dry, drier than the Sahara deserts. Until we respect our land, unless we sit back and look at the flora and fauna, how we can protect the environment, and how we can bring common sense to play on the reasoning table, my brother, my sister, we will continue to be hewers of water and drawers of wood. Yes, drawers of water and hewers of wood. Think about that, brethren. We continue to suffer in our country because of brutish leaders, bloody leaders, blood-sucking, vampirous leaders, my brother, my sister. And when we check it out, it looks like we are our own enemies. To God be the glory. Now, I'm going to conclude doing two more stories. There's a happy story and there's a sad story. Which one should I do first? Should I do the sad story first? Or should I do the happy story first? It's good to end happy. Let me deal with the sad story first. Now, this one is taken from Graphic Online, and anytime I visit this story, I cry like a baby. I pray I don't cry. Hey. This one is taken from Graphic Online, and it says, Kasua murder case. 11-year-old boy was buried alive. And this is a pathologist confirming that in court. I read. A pathologist at the Ghana Police Hospital, Assistant Commissioner of Police Dr. Osei Uswefriye, has testified that the 11-year-old boy Ishmael, who was allegedly killed for money rituals at Kaswa, was buried alive. Being led in evidence by Dorcas Feli, a senior state attorney, the 7th prosecution witness said that the victim died from severe head injury from blunt trauma. He disclosed that the cause of death was asphyxiation, that's inability to breathe. He also explained that when a person cannot breathe, the lungs get hyperinflated and the body gets blue, which was due to the premature burial following blunt head injury. I conclude that he had severe head injury from blunt trauma. My lady, the significant findings are massive swellings on the right side of the neck and the right side of the head, with fracture of the bones on right side of the head, with blood and swelling over the right side of the brain. My lady, there was also hyperinflated lungs and bluing of the body. The pathologist is the second prosecution witness to testify that the victim was buried alive. My brother, what is this story talking about? Now listen to what happened. A 15-year-old accused has been charged alongside an 18-year-old for the murder of an 11-year-old boy. And watch those who are responsible, a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old. The two have pleaded not guilty to conspiracy and murder and are currently standing trial at the court presided over by Justice Lydia Oseimafo. Now, what really happened? Listen to this, my brother, my sister, and this is going to bring tears into your eyes. According to the prosecution, on March 29, 2021, the accused persons consulted a spiritualist for money rituals locally known as Sakawa. The said spiritualist, who claimed to be in the Volta region, was said to have requested 5,000 Ghana cedis and a human being to perform the rituals. On April the 3rd, 2021, the accused persons, according to the prosecution, decided to use the deceased in furtherance of their Sakawa mission. At about 9 a.m. on the same day, the prosecutor said the juvenile accused lured the deceased into an uncompleted building where the second accused had laid ambush with the club of a pickaxe. That is the handle of the pickaxe. As soon as the deceased arrived, they told him to remove a video game from a sack they had deposited in the corner of the room. When the deceased bent down in an attempt to remove the said video game from the sack, the second accused struck him at the back of his head with the club, causing him to fall. Nanose said, the deceased, she said, turned to look at the juvenile accused and pleaded with him not to kill him, but forgive him if he had offended him. But his plea was ignored by the juvenile accused, who struck the head of the deceased with a cement block which was in the building. As a result, the deceased became unconscious but was still breathing. The accused persons, the prosecutor said, further used a spade and a shovel to dig a shallow grave in the room and buried the deceased, intending to convey him to the spiritualist. My brother, a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old called a spiritualist from the Volta region that they had seen performing miracles on TV. The deceased was only 11. He was called Ishmael. They were friends playing video games together. What happened next? They lured him into an uncompleted building, hit his head with the handle of a pickaxe. And when he fell, he looked at his attacker. A friend, are we not friends? Why are you hitting me? Please forgive me, don't kill me if I've offended you. But they did not listen to him. They still hit him with a cement block. And when his brain was scattered and lying down, they thought he was dead and buried him alive, causing him to finally die. My brother, these are the children we are raising. A 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, they know the path to a Sakawa spiritualist so they can make money. What are you doing with the money? When you watch TV, 95% of all the content is dirty spiritualists sitting down there, charming and commanding money and showing you the easiest way to make money. Is this not stupid? and foolish. What a stupid communication system. My brother, 11-year-old said, please, are we not friends? Why are you beating me? Please don't kill me. If I have offended you, please forgive me. No, that did not draw any sympathy. Bam, bam, hit the boy, buried him alive. Because they wanted to take him to the Volta region for Sakawa. Irade. They are in court and they have pleaded not guilty. My brother, when this issue came out 2 years ago, many were those who shed tears. 11-year-old boy Ishmael. Please find out if you can get a photograph of this boy, Ishmael, Kaswa ritual murder. His name was Ishmael. The mother was crying, father was crying, the whole Ghana was crying. 15-year-old and an 18-year-old murdered somebody to use for Sakawa. Such a handsome boy. He was always in school. That day when he was not in school, teachers were wondering, why is the seat of this person empty? And then, when the news came out that this was what it was, the whole school, everybody broke down. Please don't kill me. Are we not friends? If I have even done anything to you, please forgive me. No, this does not draw any sympathy. I cannot tell the court what to do. Who am I? But my brother, my sister, if you have a child and you know that this is possible and can happen to your child, you will shed tears. To God be the glory. May the body, mind, and soul of Ishmael rest in peace. This is Ishmael. This is the little boy, handsome boy. They had a video game in the house that these boys used to come to and play. They used the video game to murder this boy so violently. And when you look at them, you can see the boys. Look at them. Look at the two boys. These were the boys who were looking for some Sakawa money. They used to go to the woman's house, Hajia Fati, that's her name, to eat food. She would cook food for all of them to eat. Good friends. This boy, his father was working somewhere else. They murdered him. Even when he was pleading with them to forgive him, if he had even, a little boy knows how to ask for forgiveness. They messed up yet another great leader that this nation would have had. I don't like doing stories like this. They bring tears into my eyes. Finally, my brother, my sister, I would like to end on this note. Rastafarian student who was denied Achimota admission excels in 2023, Wasi. And his name is Tyrone Iras Magai. I know him. I spoke with him this morning. He had A1s, 8 of them. All A subjects he did, he excelled. Achimota did not want to take him. Achimota said because of his hair, he should go somewhere else. Yet they had Indians with long hair. They had Americans with long hair coming to the school with pride. And when we started fighting this issue, Ghanaians supported us. Thank you, Ghana. But to the Attorney General, who shamelessly decided to follow this issue and still take it to court to try and take this boy out. I wish that when you have your stroke and you are lying in the hospital one day, and this is the guy who is coming to take care of you, to revive you and be on your feet again. Next time, you will think about how important it is to consider the brain more than just the aesthetics and to respect people's religion and religious affiliations. I'm not calling for stroke for you. But I'm only looking at you going through something that this boy will be the person to save you because of the education we fought for him to have. How many of you remember when we were fighting tooth and nail, moving from one radio station to one TV station, speaking so much against the injustice? I remember some of these guys, I don't even want to remember their names, vehemently fighting for this boy to be removed from the school. And that is not a Bob Marley school. These guys are smokers of weed. To Sam George and the rest of them who supported Blessed Love. To Lawyer Wayo, who also supported Ras Wayo and went to court and won the case. To God be the glory. To the parents who also stood firm. And we all who stood firm to fight against this. My brother, my sister, we want to say thank you so much. We appreciate you and we love you. My brother, it's interesting. Oh my God. Oh my God. And which way? It is what it is. What else can we say? What else can we do? It is so beautiful. Now I have a very wonderful boxer in the house. So many people love him. I have seen him do so many wonderful things out there. I'm going to let him introduce himself.